We got spring practice starting on Monday. We just found out, thanks to a podcast with Andy Bertram and Auburn football coach Brian Harsin. So, what are y'all's thoughts about this year's breakdown of spring camp that is rapidly approaching?
I'm excited to see what it looks like. I'm really excited to see how much we get to see of it. We haven't really been told what media access is going to look like, not only with the Harsin era, but also because COVID is still very much a thing. But, he kind of explained his layout for spring practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturdays for a couple weeks, and basically explaining, the early parts of the week are, they're kind of broken up. That way the coaches can evaluate what they saw, see what needs improving. And then you have Saturday or Fridays and Saturdays to where the guys kind of get a sense of what the grind's going to be like in fall practice. Cause it's not just a one, 3 times a week. It's a total grind once they get in a fall camp. So I think the setup for the fall practice makes sense. I know that they're building toward A-Day and people are going to be excited about that on April 17th. And I know it's probably going to be here before we know it. So I'm really excited to see what happens between now and then, if we get some chances to talk to Harsin or assistant coaches or some of these players and see what this new era of Auburn football is going to look like.
Yeah, a lot to learn, a lot to see. It's going to be the first time doing all this for everybody. So, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. We still don't have much in the way. I don't think we have an 8 kickoff time set yet. So, a lot they're still going to figure out, but it's always exciting those report days, at the very beginning. So it'll kick off pretty soon. It'll be here before you know it.
Just to be sure, I'm going to get to Jordan here at midnight in case they do some kind of madness thing for 8 days. You can never be too sure.
And in Jordan, in your story, you wrote about the breakdown of fall camp or spring camp. I'm sorry, skipping a whole season ahead of us. You mentioned that Brian Harsin said on the podcast that these practices are crucial for his coaching staff's first season for success for the fall. So why do y'all think that spring practice this year is maybe one of the most important spring camps that Brian Harsin will ever have?
I think it's crucial because he doesn't really know this personnel. I mean, he's still been, getting to know the personnel and not only to know the names and the faces. I mean, that's huge for a new coaching staff, but also trying to figure out the strengths and the weaknesses. I mean, this is the time where maybe a new coaching staff looks at certain guys and says, well, you know what, we think this guy may be better suited at this position. Or, we really like this guy who was a second or third string guy last year with the Malzahn staff. Maybe we give him a chance to start. So really spring practice, especially for a new staff, I mean, it's basically starting over. And we'll probably hear a lot of that from Harsin if we get a chance to talk to him. You always hear when there's sort of a new regime and new coaching staff that basically everybody's coming in, with the slate is clean. Everybody's coming in and has a chance to prove themselves. So I think that's huge. Harsin and his assistants are going to be walking in. They have no ties really to any of these guys other than the recruits that they've signed, with the February signing class and then a couple of the grad transfers they picked up. But they're going to come in and probably just call it like they see it. So I think that'll be big. And that may mean a very different looking Auburn team than what we might have expected and what we might have saw had Gus been back for another year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we could talk for an hour about what we want to see and how we're interested. But I mean, yeah, other than Tank Bigsby's good and he has his running backs coach back, that's it. That's the only known commodity that you got, and that Bo Nix is in year 3. That's about it. And we'll see, everything else will be new. Talking about everything. So we'll have a much clearer picture here after spring, but for that reason, it's exciting. It's always exciting when it's new.